It's about 8:07 here on March 2nd, and we're doing the first ever episode of Stogies with Bogey. And we have a couple guys here that are doing Stogies with Bogey. And then we got Jimmy Jones, Ryan Labrador, and Jonathan Camper. We'll learn a little bit more about them in a second. We'll let them talk about themselves. But the goal of this podcast is basically a reason for me to smoke a cigar and drink whiskey outside by myself and chat it up with some guys that probably have some pretty good information to learn from and just to catch up on. If not, it's a good excuse to have a long distance call, see some ugly faces. So we'll go around the horn here. We'll go oldest to youngest here. We'll start with Ryan Labrador. If you don't mind, just telling us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you on this call, and anything else you might like to add.
Well, I'll first say I'm probably the most unprepared for this one, but man, I'm older cousin of Cody Bogart here, and I just want to say, Cody, what an honor it is to be on this episode with you guys. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now. Living in Jax, plumbing my little tail off, and trying to live the American dream out here. What more can I say?
Nice. And then
I know I didn't follow the intro, but
that's all right. We'll jump it all over to Jonathan Camp. Jonathan, tell the folks who you are.
I guess I'm the second oldest, Jonathan Camp. Currently a ROTC instructor at Embry-Riddle, where at least Jimmy and Cody went to school. That's how we met. Joined the Army, paratrooper, jumped out of planes for a couple of years. And just using my knowledge I learned, trying to help the next generation of Army officers not screw up enlisted personnel's lives. So, yeah.
Beautiful. We'll skip me for now. I'm older than you, I think, Jim, by at least a month or so. But go ahead and tell the people who you are and where you're at.
It's going to be tough to follow Camp this whole time, but Camp's definitely the coolest person here, probably the coolest person I know. But I'm Jimmy Jones, went to school with Cody and Camp, and recently met Ryan Labrador, super cool guy. But anyways, really, really nice to be here with you guys. Born and raised in small town, Florida. Real small town, real small schooling. Ended up going to college, meeting some really good guys on the baseball team at Embry-Riddle. Felt like that was a big blessing to meet all you guys and have the experiences we did at Embry-Riddle, and still kind of feel like it was small town, and it was almost kind of like a small town college. So to me, I cherish the smaller institutions like Embry-Riddle and even kind of small schooling, elementary through high school. I think that's I'm kind of biased, but I think it's a really good deal. But anyways, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Went through Embry-Riddle, graduated, now full-time engineer with a municipality here in Gainesville. So pretty boring engineer life. And now I have a wife and kids, so they're fueling kind of everything I do now. So they give me all my purpose that man can really strive for nowadays. So that's me.
Yeah, it's awesome. And yeah, only one with the kid on tonight's show, to date that we know of. But
I know that was a shot at me. But
a recent, you're a little humble. Recent best man at my wedding. So I mean, don't sleep on that. All three of you guys were there. That was a fun time. But yeah, I'm Cody Bogart, aka Bogey. At least referring to this podcast, along with many other nicknames that I'm sure all three of these guys have their own special one deep in their hearts they like to call me.
The Professor.
Here it is. Yeah, I mean,
Baggins.
it's episode 1, guys. Let's take it easy, but got to build a following before we scare them away. Went over to Embry-Riddle, play baseball, and do some engineering, and stayed over here in this area, Volusia County, to do some site development engineering, and it's where I'm at today. Coached travel baseball for a little bit, which kept my life pretty exciting and pretty stressed out, but that's been done and over with. So I guess you could say I'm staring at this iPad to help fill up some time in a hobby. But happy to be with you guys. And Jimmy mentioned we're all small town guys. We got Jimmy Jones from arguably the smallest town. Him and Camp can argue about whose town was smaller, I guess. But Ryan and I grew up a mile or two away from each other, which was fun. So we had some pretty good memories growing up. It's always good to have cousins close. But we're gonna kind of. It's weird, right? You three haven't really talked. Camp and Jimmy and me have been close enough for the recent time. Ryan's been not as frequently visited, which kind of sucks, but glad you're on, man. And I kind of want to start off with a little bit of an icebreaker of the dumbest the dumbest hill you've died on, or will still die on, because I know Camp's a pretty stubborn guy, and we'll go to him first with it. Of what's the dumbest hill that you have or will continue to die on?
Actually, I got your notes and I wrote this down, so I want to get it right the first time.
We feed the questions out to the guests, just like CNN and all those guys, just to make sure no curveballs are thrown your way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still gonna mess this up though.
Well,
somehow.
hold on. Before we get going too crazy, Cam, I'll give you a second to catch your breath. I'm gonna go ahead and do what I need to do. My ice is melting over here. I got a nice. We'll fill it up first, but I'm drinking a nice old Granddad, 80 proof, easy drinking, good for the soul.
Easy drinking, a little light Sunday night drink.
Is that a sponsor of the podcast?
One day. We got a nice golf ball. Ice mold from the little sister. That's nice. And we got the nice glass here. I don't know if you can see it, but it says The Godfather on it. Got that one from Mr. Jones himself. Godfather, his child, which is an honor in itself. But if you guys have water or whatever, cheers on a school night.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. I wasn't prepared for a drink, but cheers.
I know. And then
I'm blowing it right now.
It's Stogies with Bogey. You see the logo. There's a whiskey glass on it. We're gonna go ahead and light this one up too while we're at it. But today's is gonna be a Mayflower, brought to you by let's see here. Mayflower brought to you by Michael Knowles over at the Daily Wire. But Camp, as I light this thing up honorarily, go ahead and get the folks going on your dumb hill.
Yeah, the older I get, the more I think about monetary value. And when you sent that question out, the first thing I thought of is how most individuals we all have a certain grip on money. But most people don't understand how money works, and they're not even willing to learn. So kind of the hill I'm willing to die on is you can't become financially successful until you learn how money really works. And yeah, that's kind of what I wrote down. And yeah.
So why is that a dumb hill?
I was gonna say that's a pretty smart hill.
Gosh, Cam, I was like, mine's like not as
Well, you
deep
said-
thought as Camp is. I mean, I get it.
I got a couple written down here, and it's like the dress was white and gold and not purple and blue.
Well, dude, you gave me no kind of guidance, and I thought we were here to talk about stuff. So
No, I think
listen,
we're making bigger jokes on ourselves.
If you know me, I'm pretty seriously sarcastic, Camp. So I mean, it's going to be one of those crazy roller coaster rides of
All right.
finding our identity on this here IP address. But
all right.
I like where your head's at, because the rest of the itinerary was set up to be a little bit more seriously talking. But yeah, people don't know the money system. I mean, I can agree with that for sure. You guys got any thoughts on that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm probably the person Camp's talking about. I am, until very recently, just kind of hands off on investing, and not till very recently, and when it kind of impacts you is when you want to start thinking about those things. So when you start needing more money and you got mouths to feed, and you start taking that stuff a little bit more seriously. But up until that point, I really was ignorant to anything money and investing or forward thinking on the future and stuff like that. So I completely get what he's saying.
Jekyll Island.
Look here, dude.
There you
Keep taking
go.
Jekyll Island.
Ryan
Ryan's
knows.
Shout out G. Edward Griffin.
Oh, but
Famous
Cody,
man.
to answer your question, the dress was blue and black. I will say that. All right.
I'm not going to argue colors with the only black man on the podcast tonight.
I agree, blue and black.
So, Camp, just to explain again for the viewers and me, who I'm over here dealing with a little bit of smoke. The hill was that people don't know the money system and are therefore set up to fail throughout their life and work harder than they need to.
Yeah, it's almost a facade, right?
Yeah.
They put forward a facade of wanting to become financially successful, but in reality, they don't care enough to actually learn. Yeah, I think most people don't really realize it, but
Yeah, so I didn't bring my library outside like Ryan did, but I've been reading
Inside.
a couple books of one's called Nudge, and the other one that I'm going through right now is called Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. And it's really just the psychology of how humans can be either subconsciously or habitually kind of guided, and you just kind of take the path of least resistance, or you take the path of whatever you get shoved onto in life, right? Things in people's life shove you on somewhere else. So the Nudge book was really good about showing how like opt-ins or opt-outs of like healthcare systems with your job, or like if Jimmy had a job and it was an automatically opt-in for 10% deduction from his paycheck to be saved into a 401k, like he would have probably kept that back in the day, and he would be 10% from every paycheck since then, and he'd be having a different story than what he just said. So um, the not automatically enrolling, or automatically enrolling as someone that doesn't need something, and like my instance, Social Security, which that should be an optionable thing, right? Just like the government subsidized healthcare, it should be optional for the people that want it to be optional. Because if I can invest my money and get 7% or better year over year in a stock market, I shouldn't be having to spend it to a government who's getting negative percentage, which is just having inflation cost your dollar. So definitely agree with you there. Ryan, did you have some more thoughts after flashing the big book?
Nope, that's about it. You know.
Did you read it yet?
No, I mean, I read about half of it, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good read,
And
but
any bit of spark notes for the folks, just in case I don't want to go read it? I'm
you
going to
probably
still
don't
read
want
it,
to take
but
financial advice from me.
well, no, I mean, that'll be the first thing when I edit this thing out and do some things. It'll be, we are not any type of advisors ever. So that'll be the first thing it says.
No, I mean, I don't even really have that much value to add to it. I mean, it's an interesting book to understand how the money, like how the Federal Reserve works and like fractional banking. But um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of we're definitely getting boned.
Do we think, and this is the later on in the next segment, but like, do we think Trump and his administration are going to be able to affect the Fed or the IRS, which are the kind of the last two standing, it seems like, out of all the other big shadow agencies we have? Any chime in? Not directed at Ryan, just to anyone.
I don't know if you saw what Elon Musk said to Joe Rogan the other day, but he said if I get rid of all the corruption, they will kill me.
Correct.
So
So
that
the
being
answer,
said,
no. The answer sounds like no.
yeah, you can't drain the swamp completely. That's just how it is.
Yeah,
So
they're going to cause a little bit of a drought. That's about all they're going to be able to do. And then next Democratic administration that gets in will blow it right back up, and they'll brag about how many jobs they created,
yeah,
and they're all going to be government jobs, which has been my theory since I could vote. I
yeah,
mean, how obvious is that? I created 100,000 jobs. They're all make believe or just jobs, making
oh yeah,
government budgets larger and larger every year. So,
Yeah, I mean, something radical would have to happen because I mean, that's like the force, behind everything going on in the world. So
yeah,
wouldn't be easy getting rid of it
yeah,
without something crazy, happening.
yeah. I mean, a lot of the hardcore libertarians they're like, I mean, at this point, you have to break it. You have to re-break the bone to set it in place before you can regrow anything on it.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
kind of scary. It's scary to think about. It's never going to happen, but it's scary to think about. Um, and I think with my expertise, I can just sit here and discredit that it will ever happen, because I just, there's so much, there's so many facets, there's so many variables that have to come perfectly to break it. The meteor would have to hit in 2032 before Camp and I run for office. Like that's what would have
Yeah,
to happen before anything happens.
yeah,
So,
oh, yeah.
but yeah, But yeah, not camp. That's not the dumbest hill to die on. But
Yeah.
if you're talking about a bunch of hills out
It
there,
might be the best hill to die on, dude.
honestly, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
My bad.
You failed successfully. We'll say that. Failing upwards.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll take it over to Jimmy. Then we'll go on the other opposite end of the spectrum of dumb, and maybe we'll get the actual definition number one in the dictionary of dumbest hill to die on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna complain about the way people have a lack of communication. So one of my biggest, hills that I will die on every single day is I just get so irritated how people can't communicate nowadays. So if I'm in a grocery store and 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 I'm walking on the right side of that aisle, I expect you to walk on your side of the aisle. So I'm not going to get out of your way. I'm going to stay on that right side, and I'm going to continue walking that path until I make you uncomfortable. And so that's my dumb hill. Is that it's gonna, it puts me in a pretty awkward position sometimes where I'm looking at people much bigger than myself. I'm only 5'7", but I'm not going to just get out of your way. And the other kind of dumb hill on that is uh, people don't say excuse me anymore. If I'm just sitting looking at my product in Walmart, I'm in Walmart again, and I'm looking there, and someone just like kind of walks up to me, expects me to move out of their way. No, just communicate and say excuse me, or hey, I'm trying to get by you, or there's just a lack of decency that we have anymore. People can't even talk because they're just stuck to their phones and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So I'll die on that hill every single day. You must say excuse me, or at least talk to me, and not telepathically think that I'm getting what you're putting down. I guess I'm trying to teach people how to talk a little bit. So you're gonna have to say excuse me for me to get out of your way.
I mean, it sounds like you need to be shopping at like Publix or Trader Joe's or something, man. You need to switch it up from Walmart.
Yeah, get out of Walmart, dude.
Yeah, you're probably not
Hey,
right.
hey, no offense to Walmart in case they want to sponsor, but I mean, it's not them, it's the people.
It's
But
the
I
people.
mean,
Wow,
so I mean,
Cody's selling out day one.
you gotta set yourself up.
Dude.
You gotta set yourself up early, man. I ain't growing any more hair anytime soon, so I gotta keep going. Um, but yeah, that's the dumb hill right there. I mean, 100% you're playing chicken with just ignorant people out there that don't really give a shit about you. So why should you give a shit about them? So a little bit of pettiness out of you, Jim. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Let's talk a little bit. Let's sometimes say excuse me. Yeah, how you doing? How you doing? In the meantime, also,
It,
you doing all right?
I
Let's
do,
talk a
I do,
little bit.
I do. I don't know if you guys have an example, but I don't have a specific example, but I do it on purpose because it all started when I took AP Psych back in high school. Shout out Craig Augustin. But we had to do like social experiments and we learned about all those things and we were just basically messing with people, right? We were kind of like trying to see if we can get people uncomfortable or like guide them to do what the test was trying to do. Nothing harmful or nothing crazy, but just kind of like we would go outside. I remember going outside in the villages right outside the movie theater in Lake Sumter Landing. And like the thing was to hold the door open. We were holding the door open and trying to see who would say thank you or who would look at you or who would even give you the time of day. And it was like old people over there 50-50, right? They expect that at their age, I guess. They worked hard enough. But the other thing was right after we held the door, we went out and I just like looked. I didn't even point. I remember the drill was to just look up into the sky. And then slowly each of the other classmates came up and kept looking kind of intermittently. We had a group of 30, almost 30 people, like kind of like walking away, not like crowded around, but like kind of like glancing up to see what the hell we were looking at upstairs. And it was nothing. I mean, but it's just I, I love being able to put my Mobius hat on and just grab people out of the matrix every now and again. You say something or you do something like run it, play chicken with their cart, and they kind of just like you can see them kind of get the lights back on in the house, and pretty funny right there, Jim. Um, Ryan Labrador, what's your dumb hill, man?
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit petty, kind of like Jimmy, but people who leave their shopping carts out, they need some form of punishment.
We we pulled into Walmart. We went to the bank first with camp, right? We went to got our ATM or whatever we needed, and then we pulled into Walmart, running into people with shopping carts, and then those people get mad that Jimmy got in their way and continue riding. Is that it?
I mean, that was it. I mean, people who leave their carts out are. Yeah, I mean, they're probably like besides the Federal Reserve, they're probably the reason like why a lot of things aren't as good as they should be. People like that just holding society
People
back.
like that. Yep.
I mean,
They can't do the little things. How could you expect them to do anything else?
it really is. I mean, I can guarantee. I put my life savings that all four of us would be getting our carts back where they need to be. I mean, I'm known to walk all the way back into the store and put them back in, underneath.
I won't walk back in the store. I'll
Well,
find
I
the
mean,
cart. I'll find the cart
oh,
thing.
at a minimum, yeah,
I ain't
at a
walking back.
minimum. Jimmy,
I
I
only
mean,
I only take it to the store if the store is closer than the actual cart return.
Okay.
Uh,
that's
All right.
I mean, that's it.
I'll tell you what I won't do. I won't leave it in the parking stall, but I will occasionally prop one up on the curb.
oh no, now Jim, that's a good way
Wow.
to that's a good
Hey,
way to not
someone,
be on this stream again.
I'm a little bit 50-50. I agree, clean up after yourself, but also someone's getting paid to clean up them carts, maybe.
Oh man.
Yeah, you're not their daddy though, Jim. You're not their daddy, man.
Jimmy's
Hey, if
like
I'm gonna run,
Jimmy will put the stuff back on the plate at dinner at a restaurant, but he's not going to take it back to the kitchen. You know, that's all he's saying. I get it.
By all means, by
yeah,
all means.
I'll clean up after myself. But if I'm at a restaurant, they tell me to leave my plate on the table. If they got employees that'll come pick it up or come clean up my cart, hey,
I mean, problem is when the carts in the parking spots, it's affecting where I want to park, and that
that
just
I
pisses me
agree.
off.
I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may put it up on the landscape strip in the mulch.
The
Every now and then, I am that guy.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's I mean, someone
Well, I
does.
mean, you deserve some form of some form of punishment, I guess.
I'm not saying I'm
Have
not
you
guilty, man.
have you guys
I'm
seen?
guilty. That's one of my icks.
There's a guy. I forget his name. Forget the name of it. I need to look that up. I'll post it down here in the details. But link below. The the guy is like a self-proclaimed cart police, and he puts on a vest. He's got logos. He's got decals. He will go up to your car as you're pulling away, Jimmy, your car specifically, and throw a decal on that says something about like "Don't put the cart back," or I mean something like that, or I forget what it says. Something
I like that
along the
guy's
lines.
style.
And he
I'm
gets
not
in.
saying I always felt good about it.
Dude, the people that get it. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't like anyone throwing a decal on my car, but the guys that he chirps at and he puts those decals on, they freak out. And I mean, part of it is don't put decals on my car, please. But the other part
Cart
is like
narc.
they got it. That there it is. It's cart narc. Shout out cart narc. They got to be so guilty. You know, you feel that like guilt, and you're like instantly like, don't tell mom, right? You're like, and then that has turned now into f you. Like, instead of
Yes.
saying don't tell mom, mom doesn't care anymore. It's f you. Why are you calling me out? And I guess that's the reason why we have
It's
inflation. I
total
guess
shame.
I feel shameful. I just continue to sin.
yeah, is what it is.
Should have take the like the shame walk in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I think
No, I
that's
agree
it.
with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Start petitioning.
That'll be my new screener, for guests here. Like, do you put your carts away?
You put your
What
cart away.
percentage? What percentage? I think. I mean, I'm a big Matt Walsh fan from the Daily Wire. He's really the only reason I have that subscription, and he is big on that. He's in Ryan's camp. He's like, those people deserve to go to jail. I think he said that multiple times. And I mean, if we're gonna learn lessons, I mean, it is what it is, man. Yeah. My hill was seriously a string of those. Um, it's the same as my, like, this could be my campaign start off for 10 years from now, but it'll be a straw has one hole in it, right? I mean, straw has one hole in it. Tell me otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's
It's the silly ones. I mean, I need to invite Dom on the show, I guess, and shout out Dom, but
Oh, you
hey,
gotta put Dom on one of these
Yeah,
shows.
not on the
you're gonna
first one.
need
I can't
you're
get
gonna need
torched.
Dom on here.
Yeah,
That's
Can't just
just
have people that
quality
agree with me.
clapbacks.
yeah. That'll be the episode that goes viral.
Shout out Dom Zabam on Twitter. Follow his bets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, stuff like that. But I mean, I like where Camp's head's at for the next segment here. I don't know. I doubt I haven't even read all of them. I just know that some of the ones I wanted to talk about were in here. Um, and that's really just like what the Trump admin's been doing. I haven't been paying attention fully. I haven't been listening to my fair share of the podcast of people that actually do all the research, and I don't have that kind of time because I'm not full time at this yet. But um, the big one with the economy is the tariffs, and then the waiving of as many taxes it seems like as possible. I mean, he's mentioned the federal income tax, which would be absolutely monumental, and then property taxes as well. And I know DeSantis has recently mentioned property taxes in Florida, um, trying to replace that with some other stream of income, and as well as implementing a Doge form of the state government to trim the fat. So I feel like Camp might be a little bit more prepared than everyone else. So I'd like to ask Camp, do you have one of those Trump economic, specifically economic, uh,
Uh,
things that he's been doing here that you like to talk about?
um, economic. I mean, I can go with the tariffs, right? Because I truthfully didn't know what tariffs was till Trump started talking about it, and I was like, I mean,
Yeah.
I knew it's a tax on another country and stuff like that, but I didn't know the scale of which um the other countries were giving us goods and not taking our goods. So specifically the European Union, right? Cars. We import so many cars from the European Union, but because of I guess the way our cars are manufactured, they don't want to take our vehicles. So that hurts our economy because, people have less jobs and stuff like that. And I started to think, I was like, man, it's kind of weird, right? And when he started saying we're gonna start tariffing, outside goods coming in, it kind of makes sense. Because if they're not gonna take our stuff, why are we taking theirs? Just simple enough. That was just my basic understanding from what he was talking about with the tariffs.
Yeah, no, and that was my understanding too, without going into any more depth on it. Would be we're we were giving so much leeway for manufacturing or production or agriculture in other countries that we gave them worse, what Trump would call bad deals, but it was incentivizing them to do commerce with us, right, at lower prices, so that way we would have first dibs and things like that. But what it also did was, I think it separated the upper and middle classes even more, because now the the typical things that you could work for and manufacture in the states with good paying jobs, you would call back when they made the big shift, which I think, oh, I forget the date, it'll pop in my head, but it was like the mid 20th century when they really started to export a lot of those. I think it was after World War II, when everyone came back and the big industrial boom happened, and all the intercommerce started happening. Um, you know, the U.S. was like, okay, we're making good enough money. We won the war, so we got the investment part of it done, and our economy was booming at the time, so we're good. And they they didn't get any, they didn't adjust it, so we just kept. It'd be like us um, constantly going to the grocery stores, right? I don't know how to freaking raise livestock. I don't know how to grow any type of agriculture right now, but I've been born that way and been doing it, right? My parents have been born that way and they've been doing it. So 2 generations ago, I think that we just got off that. We got right into the convenience. Oh, this is easy. We'll just pay a little bit more, work a little bit harder. We'll move up the corporate chain or whatever, the rat race that we're in. But him trying to waive the tariffs is going to create waves. Is where my next point was going to go, and it's going to go from we're going to get less, we're going to get more money from outside. So let's see where we can give the American taxpayers some benefits, and what can we do for them to be able to afford now what's going to be more expensive imports and more expensive exports of commerce, right? So the money is going to go somewhere, right? We're going to get it from somewhere. We have to pay it somewhere else. So I definitely agree with you there. Any other tariff talk from the boys?
I would say to touch on that, it's because I mean, we've been sold out pretty much by all the corporations. Like we don't, we haven't done manufacturing in forever, and so we're just like we're a service based economy. And then on top of that, it's like you bring in a bunch of people, you're just bringing in cheap labor to like fill those service roles, and so kind of how you're saying with like, when we're like paying and trying to like globalize markets in a lot of ways, it's like it's good to build up, the rest of the world in a certain way. But when it gets to a point where we're, like what are we, the American taxpayer, the American worker getting in return for that? Because we're the ones paying for it. We're the ones feeling it like just at home. Like I don't know exactly where I was going with that, but yeah, I mean, I think the tariffs thing is like, I think I think our country has to be prepared to go through a little bit of a hard time. But just knowing that on the other side of it, like it just takes, proper planning and preparation and like just, things that make sense for like what's in the best interest of our people. And I think we might have uh maybe it just right off the bat it's good, but I think if people are prepared to just go through a little bit of hardship, I think and really just get gritty with it. Like at the end of this, it's our country's going to be in a much better position.
So what would you say to the, I'm sure hundreds of thousands of people that are saying, I'm going through a hard time right now. I've been going through a hard time for a while, right? I mean, that's always like when ever since I started doing um, the public meetings for my job, like I'm an expert witness, right? I'm like the guy at the guy at the seat in front of the Senate committee or whatever, or House committee, just getting kind of berated. Now it's not a dog and pony show as what's on C-SPAN, but these meetings are recorded too, and there's Facebook groups on top of Facebook groups of pushing these smaller town politicians or county politicians to listen to them, right? The minority that's loudest. So, I mean, the whole Central Florida, a lot of the areas that just got all the natural disasters, West Coast and up there in the mountains. People are going through hard times now. So now to throw, and I think it's a justifiable complaint to say, why are we putting more tariff? Why are we making it more expensive for the systems we already have? And like you said, there's going to be an adjustment period, right? Now it's going to be more expensive to buy here, and it's going to take time for the supply line and supply chain in the country to match that price, right? It's going to be a balancing act. It's going to take, who knows how long it's going to take. None
Yeah.
of us are economists, but that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt really bad, especially those that are now been been subdued by the regulations we have now, the systems we have now, but also just the situation that we're in right now. It's a very, very volatile time in the country. But yeah, I definitely agree with, there will be a plateau, if not a downturn of quality of life for probably large swaths of the American population, and who knows, globally. Um, so yeah, so the tariffs. He's going to get more money from other countries on black and white paper on how he would explain it to us. That makes sense. Now that money has to come from somewhere else, or now there's extra money, right? There will be extra money once those systems get going in the federal government. So he's looking to cut taxes on sales tax, not sales tax, income tax, and then also property taxes at some point, maybe. Who knows? Um, I doubt the property taxes will happen. I think he might be able to do something with the income tax. I don't think he can abolish it. I don't think he'll be able to get it all the way to zero, but I think hopefully he can get that thing down a little bit.
Dude, he'd,
Um,
he'd be the total goat if he did that.
yeah, and the if they can somehow negotiate it, the balancing act is the sales tax will go up. I mean, that's bottom line. The sales tax will go up, and it's 6 or 7% across the entire nation for the most part, with some exceptions. But that will have to double, I would say. So now the consumer that is maybe stressing now, paycheck to paycheck, will now be asked to spend more on discretionary spending, whether it's needs or wants of just anywhere, all day to day. So I don't think it's going to be able to go, we get more money, so you get income tax away now. That sales tax is going to go up first, and then income tax will come down if it does. So that's what I'm worried about, is that now we're going to have the same 22 or 26% income tax for most of us here on the call, versus now we're going to be paying 12% at, the convenience store for a Reese's peanut butter cup. Like, it's pretty crazy. On top of still probably tipping 20%.
Yeah, I think it gets hard no matter which way you cut it.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see. Camp, nothing to add on your initial thoughts there?
No, I got none right now.
Cool. Cool. See, that was serious. We went from dumbest hill to die on straight into freaking tariffs and taxes. I just think it's crazy that it took me forever to get us four on a freaking FaceTime call, and our founding fathers allegedly the story we were told where they're getting together in bars and thinking about killing people. So, um, pretty wild stuff. We're hoping for a cut in taxes. They were trying to abolish them.
Yeah.
So that's pretty depressing here at the 40th minute of the call. Um, so Doge, everyone's favorite acronym, and Elon Musk is kind of officially a part of, or kind of not officially part of. But Jimmy, what are your thoughts on the Doge department in itself? Whether or not you know any accomplishments that they've had. Yeah. Got nothing out of you, Jim. Jim, trying on button maybe. But all right,
I'm like,
we'll go over to Ryan again then and say, I mean, they've been trying to slash what they can, right? A lot of it's just breadcrumbs and nothing crazy. But what are your thoughts on what they've been doing?
Uh, yeah, I mean, about time. It's I think it's I think it's good. I mean, I think we're just at a place where we got to take like a lot of action, and it's just a lot of it's just cutting what you can. That's useless, and there's a ton of fat to cut. So I don't know much about what's going on there, but I mean, in principle, I like it because
Yeah,
there's a ton. I know there's a ton of wasteful spending.
I just hate the PR around it. Obviously sucks, and the press secretary, as good as she is, and I forget her name, but um, as good as everyone in the Trump administration has been being with PR, it's been very aggressive. It's been very kind of retributional. Like they're coming for it, right? And whether you like it or not, who cares? Which is fine. That's what we all, everyone who voted for Trump voted for. Um, but I was explaining it on my honeymoon to two British couples at the Hibachi Grill. We were at the Hibachi Grill. I got paired up with very older, retired. They'd been there for like 2 weeks of their 3 week vacation at this all inclusive resort, and then there was a um, younger, probably our age or maybe a little bit mid 30s, English couple. And they were basically like, "What's going on in America?" And I was just like, "They're just doing stuff, right? And they're doing stuff to hopefully balance the books. I mean, whether that's good or bad, we can sit here and drink as much as we want to argue about whether the actual line items that they're cutting out and crossing out is good or bad, but I don't think it really matters. As long as if you stop spending it and you cut the budget, you can always still spend that money right back. But if you never cut it, then you've been doing what we've been doing for the past 8 decades of just spending more money every single year and increasing the budget. Because Jimmy's a government employee, and I know Camp is too, but I don't think he's balancing spreadsheets for the Army. But Jimmy, you're probably talking to guys that get the government grants and things like that, to where if you don't ask for the money, they're gonna shrink you up a little bit, right? They're gonna say, "Oh, you're operating better. We're not gonna give you that money," right? Can you speak to that? You can't speak to that. Nothing.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm
Back.
having technical difficulties, but I think I'm back now. Yeah, I was gonna say that it's hard for people to rationalize how quickly Doge and Trump is moving right now. Like it's insane, and like we're so used to presidents and even like governments working under a huge invisible blanket, and we don't really know what they're moving. We hear them come out at a State of the Union address, and they'll list off a couple bullet points of some accolades they got done the past 3 months. And like now we're getting real time, we're getting spreadsheets, we're getting information on every single cut. They're telling us what they're cutting. We're not seeing
Yeah.
full detailed list of the actual transactions, who was making them, and all that. I'm sure people are just going to keep asking for more and more transparency. But how transparent can you be, man? I mean, it's like we're seeing stuff that's like unheard of, like we would never even know about. Like we're hearing about $3,600 we're saving. They're talking about the small stuff, the big stuff, the tens of millions. And even there's $3,600 transactions on ridiculous uh, transgender surgery in the Congos, West Congos. Like, what the heck's going on, man? I mean, it's just like people don't know how to deal with all the information they're getting so quickly. And I don't either. I mean, it's hard to keep up with everything Trump's doing the last couple months. It's a lot, even for a supporter. It's like
I mean,
still can't keep up with everything he's doing.
yeah, it takes a couple days to get your credit card statement updated on something you bought or returned. So, I mean, imagine the government trying to move at that pace with the amount of money they've been doing in every single direction of making the paperwork happen. I mean, I know they're implementing AI and they're using a bunch of geeks in there to get after it, but yeah, I think they're just moving too fast, which I don't think people are used to, which is nice. Um, some would call that like using a machete though, instead of a, a surgical knife. You think that
Chainsaw.
has any? Yeah, you think that has any merit? Yeah, that's right. The chainsaw, the Elon Musk chainsaw.
Silver plated chainsaw.
Who gave him that? That was one of the South American guys that gave him that, right?
Ecuador.
Crazy, crazy. Camp, you got any Doge? Not the cryptocurrency. That's later.
Yeah, I guess Doge. I saw Andrew Schultz doing a podcast, and he was trying to explain it. And people, they kept referencing Bill Clinton. I guess did this in the '90s, same exact thing. Not called Doge, but it was government efficiency. And what I guess most people have a problem with is how they're going about it, right? Because Elon's an unelected official, is their first complaint, right? But we've had unelected officials before doing stuff. He's cutting all these. The other argument is like he's cutting all these programs that um, he has no right to cut the programs. I'm like, well, who had the right to start the programs? They want to say that Congress should only be the ones that are have the ability to cut programs, but if Congress didn't install the programs, why should they need to be the ones that cut it? So I mean,
Exactly.
I get the fact he's unelected, but I try to explain my mom, I was like, if you're gonna stop somebody from bleeding out on the battlefield, the first thing you do is like apply a tourniquet high and tight. You can do surgical later, but you got to stop the bleeding now. Because if you don't stop the bleeding now, the person's gonna die. That's how I try to explain it to her. Like, yeah, he's doing it like Jimmy said. He's doing it fast and heavy, but like, if you don't stop it now, he only has the next midterm is 26, and he has the Congress and Senate right now, but in 2020 or maybe 2027. Wait, it was 2 years from now. 27.
Hmm.
They'll probably switch over again, and he's going to lose a lot of the power. Trump, a lot of power he has moving forward. So he's got to do it. The first 100 days of what they say is like the most important. So
And I'd like to think that a lot of people are thinking like me. I know that's not a commonplace. Usually I'm off the wall a little bit, but I feel like everyone's just kind of wanting some change. Like, I mean, just why not? Just try it out. Like that's how it's easy, right? That's the path of least resistance of thinking, right? I don't have to go research things. I don't have to go bounce and run economic models and research like that. But I mean, we were going in. I mean, we're in the trillions upon trillions of national debt, and I mean, at some point that was going to break or burst, or it was just going to keep going. And all the percentages that we were talking about with taxes and everything was just going to keep getting higher and higher. Or we would have had to make more money and money, and that money was going to be worth less, less, and less. That was the pattern, right? The pattern was just more money being printed, which is not good for anyone besides the people at the top making and implementing the things, and then retiring from Congress and then getting paid to go public speak at places for $20,000 a pop. So definitely a bad pattern, and I'm happy he's in there hacking things up, just to see what will happen because we can always rebuild. I don't think America has an issue with rebuilding anything. That's kind of in our blood as a nation. So we might as well tear some stuff down that we think are nasty vines and then plant back some nice hydrangeas or something. All right. I don't really want to talk about the border. I mean, I just saw something where it's down astronomically. I mean, it hasn't been better in years. So I think we're all in agreement there that people need to come in the country legally. So anything he's doing down there, shout out Justin Franklin, Border Patrol, but don't look up his rank or nothing. The But anything down there, I think, is fine because I mean, the more and more people you have undocumented here, it just the more chaos that it is, and not the people themselves, right? The people may just be hardworking individuals trying to get here and enjoy America like everyone else, and that's by all means I have empathy for those people, but we hopefully we cut down some of the nasty uh, hoops and red tape and bullshit that on how immigration works, and we can get people streamlined in faster that deserve to be in, right? That are, create all the checks and balances and are going to improve our country and not not bring down the average as far as quality of people and quality of life here. So I
I'll say,
kind of wish we could deport some people that are citizens. I think we could probably agree on that. Maybe that could be something we look at.
yeah, shopping cart
Exactly.
bandits.
Exactly. Send them down to Mexico.
Yeah, now we're on something.
They don't even have shopping carts down there. Maybe I don't know.
No.
I'll just say too on kind of touching on like Doge with the immigration thing too, and I don't know if this is totally right the way I'm thinking about it, but I would assume that a lot of the like government programs or things like the government would fund that like incentivize illegal immigration, if those are being slashed out, that could be a big reason of why, like, to keep people from like coming here in the future. Because if there's always incentives for people to cross illegally, like they're gonna keep coming. So
Yeah.
if we're getting rid of all that stuff to even incentivize it, then
Mm-hmm.
I mean it seems pretty straightforward how to like kind of solve that problem.
Yeah. That goes back to the psychological aspect of it. You have positive reinforcements for breaking the law when entering the country, rather than negative consequences for doing so, and that scale has been tipped for many years.
Yeah,
Um, so I mean, fear is obviously not what you want to rule by, but the negative consequences are what stop people mostly in life, right? You have to stare Jimmy face to face in the grocery aisle and have an awkward confrontation. You're probably going to start figuring out where your shopping cart needs to be on the side of the aisle. I mean, as little as a negative consequences that is, people don't like that. So they're going to be like, "What the heck?" Or they're going to make you the enemy and bitch about you to their spouses and friends all day, just like Jimmy has.
That's
What
fine.
was the person's name, Jimmy? What was the person's name they got in the scuffle with? You held on to it
Yeah.
this long. They have to as well. They have to as well.
Yeah, and I think the other part of the Doge, we're seeing the monetary stuff right now. But the other part of it is like what kind of Ryan was touching on a little bit is like our our system of immigration needs an efficiency reform. Like it shouldn't be so hard for a good person and person that wants to contribute to the American society. It shouldn't be that hard for them to get into the country. Yeah, they need to go through some hoops and we need to vet them, but it shouldn't take as long as it does right now. I'm not saying the people aren't doing their jobs; they're doing what they're told and they're doing the procedures that they're told. But I think that procedure there needs to be a reform on immigration procedure to make it easier for good people to come in and contribute to our society. That
Yeah,
on the other side of the token, obviously, yeah, we want to deport bad people and not let bad people in. But the other side of that is making it easier for good people and hard workers and people that want to be American come in.
I think we've beat that dog with a stick pretty well, the Doge. Before we leave the topic of what the Trump administration could do, is there anything big besides crypto? Because that's next. But is there anything big that you would like to see them do in a short sentence or two? Ryan, you got anything? Any hopes and dreams?
um no, I don't. I mean, I just haven't. I don't pay attention too much to it. I just uh kind of hoping they just keep doing what they're doing, honestly. I
Yeah,
think we
because
just need some. I think we just need some like really immediate aggressive action, and um, there's going to be just a lot of pushback from like the entrenched, government that's been in power for a long time now. So it's just kind of go with the flow. I don't know. I hope they do good though.
no, yeah, no, and that's the thing that's been missing. I'm going to talk about that's one of my closing comments if we get there. But um, the trust. Like, right, you hired someone to do their job. You got to trust them. You got to watch them, but you got to trust them to do their job, and that's why they're there. And I'm in my backyard. Uh, Jimmy, you got any hopes and dreams for the Trump admin?
I think step one for the Trump admin is now complete, which was to get his cabinet members secured. I think that's freaking huge. That
Yeah,
you know the majority of his cabinet. I don't know. I don't think anyone actually didn't make it that he selected that I'm aware of. So even some of the ones that I didn't think that were going to get in there, that they wouldn't even have Republican support. Like your Cash Patel. I didn't think Cash was going to get in. I'm happy he did, but I didn't think that he was going to get enough Republicans to support his cause too. But I think step one's from Trump that's the big thing for him to get his cabinet, because he's only as powerful as the people bringing him material to make executive actions. Like, he only knows as much as his people bring to him. He's not all seeing of the country. He's got to rely on the FBI and the CIA and the federal banks and all that stuff to tell him what the problems are and what their solutions are for him to enforce. So his cabinet's a big deal, and I think he got running start fast with that agenda that he's on right now. But I'd like to see, personally, I think people vote, or I'd hope that people vote, for causes and things that they support rather than Republican and Democrat. I really don't care, who is Republican or Democrat. I just vote aligning my beliefs to a candidate. So, where I stood this election is with food ingredients. That was one of the big things with me. Food ingredients and vaccines are a big topic, but that's kind of the big thing that I'm hoping to see from the Trump administration, is that they create a more open-minded environment with vaccines, and kind of getting more education out there to kind of either tell the people that these vaccines are a little bit more safe, or that there's other methods out there other than pharmaceutical companies, that we can start doing some stuff more natural rather than medicated. I hope that they can kind of get to the root of that. I think RFK will be a good one, but I'm hoping that his administration will start getting into the vaccines and the food ingredients to kind of get our state of the country more healthy. So I think that's a big epidemic, probably the biggest one for me at least.
Yeah. Camp, what you got for us?
Either I'll let you take your pick, either the Epstein list or the Pentagon audit. Either one, I'll be fine with.
Let's go.
The Epstein list will it kind of already happened, right? I mean, but it's like giving you the bottom of the muffin. Like, okay, cool, there's some chocolate chips in it, but it's the bottom of the muffin. And the audit of the Pentagon will get Elon killed, so I don't think that one's gonna get. I think that one is up in the echelon of no touchy. So not to kill your dreams, but as much as I'd like those two things to happen, I mean, I agree with them 100%, but no touchy. I think they might be intertwined. You think they're intertwined more than we think?
Oh, I know they're intertwined more than we know.
All right, conspiracies later. All right, so crypto is where I think, after talking to Jimmy and Ryan, I think Camp and I are. It's Camp and then me and then maybe Ryan and Jimmy. As far as the crypto stuff, I don't remember Ryan. I remember I talked to you about it a little bit, but
Oh yeah,
basically,
dude. I'm totally out of crypto. I got wrecked in crypto. I'm done, dude. I'm
shout out
I
to
had
Doge.
yeah, I'm done.
Oh yeah, I missed a shout out Taylor Sheridan, in case you want to sponsor. People say I look like Rip, so I'll get my cowboy hat next time.
100%.
I can see it.
Yeah, but man, I am so soft compared to Rip, man. I tell you what. So
Yeah, it's like
Donald
stolen
Trump,
valor.
yeah, Donald Trump posted on his Truth Social. If you're not on Truth Social, do whatever you want. It's not really that good, but
It's not.
Trump posts a lot of his stuff on there, and then it gets out on Twitter, which is good. But basically, the U.S. crypto reserve is something he's trying to create, to where it sounds like the federal government wants to invest in cryptocurrency. Specifically, he name drops XRP, which is Ripple, Solana, and ADA, which is Cardano. I have stake in all of them, so this is not investing advice, but they had a pretty tough week or two. They probably dropped, 20% or so, Camp, or maybe more, and then they just popped up. I think Cardano popped up 56% or so, and then XRP was right back up at 35%. So very volatile end of February, beginning of March for the crypto market. But Camp, what are your thoughts on a U.S. crypto reserve?
I mean, I ain't got a problem with it. It doesn't solve the problem that crypto is meant to solve. That's what I'll say. So I don't have a problem with it, but at the same time, it does nothing for us. Like we're talking about transparency in all facets, right? Um, and that is what blockchain and crypto can offer. But a crypto reserve, I mean, you can have a reserve for anything, I guess. They were, I think you talked about making a sovereign wealth fund too. So I mean, like you can have these things, but I mean, I'm not against it, but we'll see.
So, for the other half of this broadcast, I've had to awkwardly explain to my father-in-law about how like what cryptocurrency. He's a smart man as far as the finances go. He's been at the top level of some very big and large, um, high capital companies in the chemical engineering world. So he's very well versed in all money movements and budgeting and the typical executive dealings with all that and grants and government expenditure. But I've had to explain to him the real um, what I would call the real use of cryptocurrency, which I think Camp is touching on, which is people see cryptocurrency as like I'm going to trade you a quarter and you give me the equivalent of a tangible piece of money of some logarithm, right? Algorithm. I don't like that use at all. I don't think that's going to be the use of cryptocurrency. It's a representation, right? If I go play, what is it, Clash of Clans? You guys remember Clash of Clans,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so um, you can like, or even Fortnite now is like you go buy the V Bucks. V Bucks, I would say, Camp, and you can correct me, is typically is by definition a cryptocurrency. Like you're putting American dollars in, and you're getting V Bucks in the Fortnite universe and
Yeah.
network to
Yeah.
spend, right? So that's what I think most people see as a cryptocurrency, even though they can't phrase it that way. They just see it as like a type of money, like going to go buy a peso. But what I think it should be is it's information storing and accounting and ledgering, and then information transferring. Um, I think that will be the first, as well as the smart contracts, which is basically the framework and the coding of making it more efficient and automated to do that information storing and transferring and then receiving and then transferring out to whatever it needs to be. So whether that is transferring money between banks, because there's a system now to where they convert the dollar into whatever, you know what it's called, Camp? What's the framework now? Um,
For what? For transferring money.
yeah, like the digital dollar.
So like I guess my first thing I said, the problem is nobody actually transfers any money when you send money. There's a difference between the settlement and the payment, and that's the disconnect. Like you said three. It takes 3 days for you to settle a credit card. Oh, you're saying like make a credit card transaction, right?
Yeah.
Statement.
That's because all the banks are siloed, and it's you can go on for days. I mean, I've been researching this for, if I had to calculate a time now, probably months of my life has been spent on this, and it's kind of crazy. But it, you just have to understand there's a difference between settlement time and payment time, and you can see it in your bank account now. If you go look at a transaction, you'll see pending versus the settled time, and that is, if people can understand that, they can understand crypto because it's settlement and payment at the same time. It's instant. That's all it is.
And I guess that's kind of what I was trying to get into. So like I try to do it for like closings. I deal with property closings, and obviously some of us have bought a house or at least aware of how to buy a house, to where there's closing and there's escrow and there's you have to put money down and things like that. So the contract to do a closing, which is really just the title company sending it somewhere else to send it somewhere else to get a check by someone else, right? It takes time to do that. That would be automated and pre-programmed into a coding template to where once A, B, and C happens, you D, E, and F happen on the other back end, and that's where Camp is saying that the time that it takes to settle and make payments happen, that would all be done on a cryptocurrency ledger and network with V Bucks, to where all
Yep.
that'll happen in the V Bucks universe, and then you'll get paid in the U.S. dollars or whatever your currency of choice is at the end of it. What cryptocurrency offers is more secure, um, uh, more secure as far as like it's hard to forge any paperwork, right? It's all on the same network. It all happens within a coding that's has hard rules. There's no cheat codes to it, and then it happens faster and cheaper, right? So you're taking out three middlemen of a closing situation, like in that situation, or even the car dealership situation, to where there's paperwork that has to go into different people's hands. Like all those companies or entities have pre-approved this contract that is now automated, and then XRP takes a lot less coding wise and energy wise to send over somewhere else versus going to the bank, sending the dollar, waiting 3 days, and takes 3 business days, which is 8 hours of work for 3 days of whoever's in charge of that system, and it's just it makes it more efficient. So it's very hard to explain,
Very
and
hard.
because
I'm
I
sorry.
don't even know it. I don't even know it, and I haven't spent months like Camp does. But that's just my fifth grade interpretation of how it
You guys both did
works.
a really good job of just explaining that.
And Ryan, I'm so sorry that you got wrecked. And I hope that doesn't
Yeah.
turn you off. I hope that doesn't turn you off because my honest opinion, we all missed the '90s when the internet boom was happening. Right, we weren't old enough to like try to find Amazon or Facebook or any of these other companies. But I think this next wave is our opportunity to like get in early because you're still early. So Ryan, if you want to go and learn, you're not late. Trust me, I promise you that.
Yeah, I no, I'm not like totally turned off by it. I just had to I got too into it, too reckless with it. I got wrecked because of my own fault.
Yeah.
So I had to put my capital towards something a little bit something I'm better at managing in the
Yeah.
meantime till I get some little extra to play around with.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that's how I feel too about it. I don't have crypto either because I just don't have my excuse is that I'm not ready to spend the time because engineering wise, like I want to, if I'm going to do something, I got to be 100%. It's got to be calculated. I got to know kind of what my end return's going to feel like or be like, and the volatility or whatever that word uh, is what scares me with it. It's just like, especially with having mouths to feed now. Like I kind of wish I would have did it before or had the opportunity to do it before I had dependents. But I think that's where a lot of people are, honestly. Like I feel like I
Yeah.
don't have enough time to study it and to keep up with it. I know, and you can get like asset managers or crypto um, ad- advisors. I'm sure they're out there, but yeah, man, it's kind of scary for like the person that's not kind of financially knowledgeable in the crypto world. But like you said, for it gives me a little bit of hope if there's still a little bit of time for the early wave. It makes me want to research more about it.
I got a question for you, Camp. Would you recommend would you recommend someone getting into it just for like storage to hold value or to like utilize it? Because I couldn't justify like how I would utilize it. And then as far as like storage, I just think right now like again it's one of those things like I'm running a business, so I'm just always thinking like trying to get trying to get cash flow to the business and not really thinking about putting it into like Bitcoin or something.
So two things quick, right? You can either store it as value, right? You can use stable coins which offer returns because the people that issue stable coins, which is just peg 1 to 1 to a dollar, right? Stable coin, they buy government bonds. So when you purchase those stable coins, they actually give you 5% on your money, and it's 99% safe. I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's 99% safe, and you get a 5% return APY,
Well,
right?
let me pause you there, Cam, and just add something. Um, it's just like a high yield savings account or a savings account at the bank. Like you're, I'm not giving you advice, Ryan. Do not put your business money into a stable coin without being
Yeah.
comfortable and sure about it. But like I put my money in a high yield savings account. That takes time to process, get the 5% savings back of interest. Then it takes time to withdraw my money. If they even let me for any other reason, or if a federal something an executive order gets passed or something to where I can't get my money. The stable coin probably gives you a little bit more flexibility can to withdraw it.
Yep.
And then, but the banks are doing the same thing that these stable coins are doing. The banks are taking your money in the bank and investing it and making money for themselves and their shareholders to then give you 0.1% interest in your savings account at Bank of America. Like it's just, that's what they do with it. So the stable coins are the cryptocurrency version of a savings account, I would say, with the same risks.
Yeah, that's it. The stable coin is your opportunity to get that yield we all should have been getting for all these years that we've been putting money in a freaking bank, and they've been earning all the yield. Like that's all it is.
Yeah, and then they can lose it all.
And I mean,
And they can lose it all. At least the stable coins for me, I can keep it. So
Yeah.
my thing is I don't like banks. I mean, we're working on joining our bank accounts right now, right, and getting both bank accounts. And I don't want to use Bank of America. I try name drop to put that. I don't want to use her Bank of America because
Damn, dude.
I'm just against banks in general. I'd rather go to my credit union that I have. Shout out Five Star Credit Union, but they don't. They're characterized as more of a not-for-profit banking entity, and they have different regulations and different followings. They're still insured and funded for the same amount. They just have less, what I would call just less heebie-jeebies around what are they doing with my money that I'm storing in this bank. And I don't have all my money in the bank, but no one should. They should be out making money for you. But yeah, I just don't like how. I mean, Bank of America's already had a couple scandals in my lifetime that I can remember, that I just don't want to be a part of. And I think a lot of banks do that stuff. I just think they got caught.
Oh, Wells Fargo.
Exactly. Yeah.
or JP Morgan Chase. JP Morgan Chase literally has a tracker for all their fraud they do. Crazy enough.
Aren't all three of those founders of those three banks in the book Ryan just put up?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
yeah, I mean, and they probably made credit unions too, and they're just non-profits that do the same function with less capital gains for them. But yeah, I don't like that. So cryptocurrency can be if learned about properly, like you guys are saying. And I'm not as well versed as Camp as I know that, and a lot of other people in the world. But from a utility token and what it can do to help improve the dollar and improve commerce in America, a reserve might make sense if there's a next step, right? If there's a step two, if the federal government's going to have all these currencies, cryptocurrencies, to help spot or um, kind of back, like a gold backed currency, like if we're going to convert to cryptocurrencies and start using those in contracts and things like that, well, then it would make sense for the government to have some type of reserve to help back those transactions up, or to do whatever. Just like they have a bunch of dollars, they can just print more money. They should have the reserve and backup. So we'll see, I guess. Does anyone have a time limit here? Are we getting close to someone's bedtime?
Yeah, I probably gotta eat some food and wrap it up in like 10
No
minutes.
dinner yet? So okay, so we'll let you end. I'll let you pick. I'll let you pick of the last three things. So the first one was what kind of keeps you up at night, or what kind of comes in your head. I don't need to get in your deep thoughts or make you cry or nothing, but it's something that kind of itches at you a little bit, itches the brain. That could be what's the next option would be a conspiracy theory that you believe in, that you think is 100% true without a doubt, not a conspiracy. And then, or just kind of a closing statement of your thoughts of how this freaking thing went, and where you think we can go from here as far as talking like men.
I'd say the thing I think about most is right now is I really want to bring, like, I feel like America is so due to really, you know, look inward on itself and try to build again, and like just be like really build stuff of value in our country and not be so spread out in different places. And I think that if we have a vision of like what we can be as a country, and just I always break it down of like how, we're in the state of Florida. I'm in Jacksonville now. It's like, so I just think like what can I do on a day-to-day basis to like kind of get like to make contact with new people who think similar like we do, and who are very motivated about like making a positive change, and kind of like just just trying to be like, what can I do to be like a leader in this world and make a difference. That's kind of like I think this opportunity of like doing plumbing and stuff has been like the greatest opportunity, and I'd love to meet other guys who are kind of similar to myself and give them an opportunity to do that, because it's like such a fulfilling like job, and it's it really it kind of breaks you out of the matrix. It gets you thinking of how to interact with the world, how to interact with other people, and just build good relationships. And yeah, that's kind of it, man. That's what I think about at night. And it's exciting, dude. Everyone has an opportunity to kind of shape their future. So it's cool to be on this first podcast, Stogie with Bogey, and Jimmy and Camp. And I think regardless of where this would end up, it's been really cool just talking with you guys, and kind of having that time to kind of kick it and talk about kind of what's going on in the world and see what we can learn from one another. And I I'd love to do it again. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, appreciate that, Ryan. I'm glad you could make it, and it's fun running into you at my sister's softball game or a wedding or wherever, man. So hopefully we can keep catching up. And I know you're in Jacksonville now, so it's a little bit closer. We need to. Saw 18 birdies. You're at a golf course, so we got to get out there, and I'll bring us.
oh yeah,
I'll smoke a cigar and drink whiskey out there too. It don't matter. Just be more cuss words probably out there on the golf course, but just to go off what you said, I mean, I think this is a cool opportunity to hear from whether it's cousin, best man, or a best bud, former roommate, shout out Camp, to just kind of we already kind of knew that we are similarly minded guys, but we'll definitely have our differences. And whoever I get on this thing and talk to, it's fun to have guys in different parts of their lives, and just I think a lot of the things that you see the whole was it the 22 push-ups for the suicide rate you see in the military. You see men are the most suicidal thinking people out there, and especially guys our age. You're kind of lost, and society has kind of done bad by us by shoving a bunch of other shit in our face through our maturing from since high school till now. So I think people our age and even the people younger, the guys, even the guys you see on TV, I know a lot of that's fake, but you see people talking about Lord and Savior Jesus. You see people thanking their parents and thanking the things that matter for their accomplishments, and that's on a much bigger scale. But you're doing your plumbing and hoping you go to bed at night going thank you God for this chance, thank you for the opportunity, keep giving you strength to carry on and hopefully make these connections like we want, and just get that reassurance we need, or to get that kind of check or a new thought, right? I mean, I can talk to my head all. I'm really good at talking to myself in here, but man, does it get messy. And it's good to hash it out and hear from you guys. But I do think to add on that, I did go to church today. Shout out God. Um, a lot of people, you aspire to what you hear and what you're taught in the Bible, and a thought that I had the other day, and Ryan just reminded me of it. It's like America's wants to start building. I mean, we were founded on building a nation. Like that was the whole idea of coming over here. And that's any nation ever, right? But we were founded with building a nation in those Christian Judeo-Christian values, and people forget that God was a creator first. So if we're aspiring to be like Him and what He teaches, He was a creator before He was anything else. And if you get a sense of guys and you get the feeling of America wanting to create, I think that's pretty heavenly aspirations. So I think we're on the right track as a nation, and I can feel that shift definitely too, Ryan, because I get that nerve whether I'm working on my boat engine trying to get it at work or trying to make a freaking logo for this thing and playing it out. But that creator nature, I think, is what drives humans, and hopefully drives it in the positive direction. So you can either hang on, listen to these.
oh yeah, I'm not gonna leave. Well, how long are you guys talking?
I'm gonna do the same thing here. We'll cut it. We're not gonna go to each one. So if Jimmy wants to talk about all three and have closing statements or whatever, and if Camp wants to do a conspiracy and something that's on his mind, that's by all means. But
Yeah, I'm here to close it
we're
out.
taking it over to Camp. I keep going to Jimmy because I see him. I don't see Camp. So we'll take it over to Camp. Camp, take your pick from what I mentioned there, or just feel free to talk. I don't really care at this point. I'm excited either way.
I would say that this has been a cool experience. excellent job facilitating a conversation for an hour and 30 minutes. Pretty cool. I'm sure not many people could do that. I don't think I could do it. Just I can add, but having the ability to structure a conversation, kudos to you, Mr. Bogart. Um, I would say the thing that keeps me up at night would be there's a scene in Superman. I think it's Superman Returns when he faces Zod. Um, and there's an army ranger about to go up against one of the Kryptonians, and she says to him, um, uh, "A good death is its own reward." And I think about that at night for sure. That keeps me up. Just trying to die well. You could, yes, we can live well, but having a good death. Even you guys both have families, man, and I can't think of anything better than like sacrificing yourself to save your family. Like that's got to be the best thing, the most calming feeling out there. So yeah, that's what I think about at night. That's my last thoughts, I guess.
That's awesome. Brought a Superman quote into it and everything. And
Yeah,
that coming from you, who I mean, out of all of us, you have the most service time, and hats off to you for it. Whatever it was, right? And you can laugh at yourself. I know Seamus at work always, and a couple other the veterans I know. There's like, dude, shut up with that shit. Like I chose to do it, I did it, and here I am. And I love you guys for that. But ones that have that mindset. But yeah, man, a righteous death above anything. I mean, again, that's what Jesus did. He had a righteous death. If we can aspire to create and then have a righteous death at the end of it, man, that's full circle, and that's goosebump territory right now thinking about it. So I know you have a conspiracy to talk about, so we'll come back to you. But Jimmy, what do you got?
Are we getting into conspiracies, or have I got to follow up Camp's closing statement
I mean,
there?
for the flow of
Gosh, that was good, man. I mean,
I can edit. I think I can edit. I haven't edited anything yet, but uh, if you want to go, what keeps you up at night, and then we'll end with conspiracies to give us nightmares, and we can go that way.
gosh, yeah, yeah. I love what Camp just said. I just want to talk about that for a second. You gotta, as a warrior minded, you want to sing your death song. So I love that. So yeah, I don't think anybody should really be afraid of death. I think we should all welcome it. It's not. I'm not saying not on the extreme side, but you should. It can be a beautiful thing. Obviously, there's a lot of tragedy with your loved ones and stuff like that. But I think if you're right with yourself and in between your ears, and you're good with everything you're doing with your soul, then you should sing your death song for sure. But what keeps me up at night, man, honestly, that has changed the last couple of years. Now I'm, being a father, it's, I just want to look out for the best interests of my kid and my wife, and that's what drives me every day now. That's my sole purpose is to support them and be the best dad, husband, and even son for my parents. So what keeps me up at night really, man, is the health epidemic, because it comes at me with multiple different ways. So family has heart problems, down my dad's line. So the heart attacks and diabetes, it comes down that line. And then I have the other approach with JJ and the things that we're feeding him, things that are coming off the shelves that are toxic, and things that are coming off the shelves that are just made with a bunch of BS rather than just real food, and stuff like that. So it's really troubling to me that, instead of going to Publix and grabbing 10 things and not really thinking about reading the labels of how we used to operate, I used to just go in and get a Twix bar, get a Cheerios box of cereal off there, and a couple other things. And now I find myself reading labels and ingredients. Why does it have to be like that, man? It's like, why do we have to question what's getting approved to be put on these shelves? It shouldn't have to be like that, and that's what troubles me.
The one word, I didn't even look at the crazy spell words. It's the contains bioengineered ingredients. That's the only thing you have to see.
Yeah, bioengineer. I mean, yeah, that's your extreme one, and then what you see on most boxes is the natural flavors, which isn't isn't a regulated statement. So natural flavors can mean uh, anything. It's not, it's not a regulated ingredient, so they can just put whatever the hell they want in there to be a natural flavor. Um, but yeah, man, that's what keeps me up at night. Just what we're putting in our bodies, and why do we have why does my wife did. I give all the kudos to her. She does all the research on that stuff. Otherwise, we'd be buying Cheerios. No offense to Cheerios, but they can do better, man. I mean, we shouldn't have to be sitting there having to pick one cereal brand over the other just because there's BS in it. Like, we shouldn't have to do that. It just seems crazy, and it's just it just that's what troubles me and keeps me up at night. Is there's a lot of families out there that don't do the research, and it's because they don't have time for it, and is taking care of trying to keep their heads above water economically, or they got other troublesome things going on at home, so they don't have the time that we do to research and look at all these things and ingredients that are going into our bodies, cancer causing and other disease and infectious problems. So yeah, man, I hate that families are going through with that and have to just they read the headlines on the New York Times or whatever newspaper article, and they see that it's a conspiracy theory. But man, it's not. You can read the labels. It's not a conspiracy theory. We're putting junk into our bodies, so they get fed all this misinformation. But anybody can go to the grocery store and read a label, and if you can't pronounce a word, should you be putting it in your body? Probably not.
I don't know. I don't know how to say Worcestershire.
I don't either, and I don't
But-
eat it. Drink it, or whatever you do with it.
Yeah, but Jimmy, you got two birds with one stone there. You got the keeps you up at night, which is a non-conspiracy conspiracy. So, yeah, definitely, I'm excited about that. RFK, Jimmy, you're just gonna make everything better. We're gonna eat Cheerios with real honey. So that'll be fun. Shout out RFK, Junior, and RFK. But no, I love that out of you. Definitely a different perspective. I mean, seeing you guys this weekend was fun. Thanks for making the trek over and staying with us. I know you could have just drove back after seeing Gunner, but that was fun. But you're raising a good little kid. You're being a great husband, so that's fun to see, man. And knowing where you came from, just being a wild card. You still are a wild card, but all that motivation and energy goes the right direction. So definitely, definitely praying for you guys always there. Yeah. Anything to add to Jimmy's there? You too?
Yeah, we should start going in on some what do you call it? Some like actual homegrown meat.
I'm buying a
I
quarter.
agree,
I'm buying
man.
a quarter of a cow. Here.
Yeah, Cody's already started. I think Cody's ahead of us, but yeah, I mean, you can do the simple things. Unfortunately, it's more expensive because it's like a trend right now.
It is trendy. I'm a crunchy guy.
It is trendy, a little bit trendy right now, unfortunately. So that getting that quarter of a cow may be a little bit more expensive than buying a quarter of a cow at Publix through ground beef and top sirloin fillets. But you're gonna do a lot of better things for your body in the long term, and short term. You'll definitely feel it.
Camp, are you? So I mean, Ryan's pretty fit himself. Jimmy's working out, doing all that stuff. I'm probably on the lowest part of being motivated to go do that kind of stuff. But that's what keeps me up at night is I'm not reaching my full potential. But do you look at like, what do you put into your body? You're running marathons and all that stuff. You're in the best shape of your life, I would say. And I mean, are you looking at that kind of stuff?
I would say that was the biggest thing for me, like Jimmy said, is just looking at the label. And what got me was butter. Butter has
Uh,
always butter has always been butter is always bad for you and stuff like that, blah 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 blah. And I was going through Publix one day and I looked at butter and it was like heavy cream and salt. And I was like, okay, maybe you shouldn't be eating a lot of it, but how is that bad for you? So like same thing with Jimmy said, like you look at the labels and you can't spell anything on there. So no, I definitely try to be more conscious. I won't say I always eat healthy,
Yeah.
but I at least will
We
look
just
at
we
the
just
label
hammered
now.
Giuseppe's together. I know, but
Yeah, I know. I'll at least look at the label now. So that's my start.
and that's I've been able to, what I would say, maintain. And obviously, I'm a Bogart. We see it in the face a lot with the weight gain. So like, being able to kind of see that, like, I switched over to just all the nonsense bullshit just because I was stressed out and working hard and all that stupid shit, all the excuses that don't matter. Um, but like you're saying, just looking at that label, I look like an idiot in the store all the time because I'm just like a paranoid freak looking at it, but just I don't grab it, and that's helped both of our diets. I'm proud to say I did two accomplishments this year. Rachel became a Catholic to marry me, so that's one conversion. The other conversion was her parents, margarine, nothing but margarine in the house. Now it's butter, and I'm so excited about that because we used to go over there for dinner. It's like, hey, can you pass some margarine? Can you? I can't believe it's not butter or whatever it is. Now it's freaking butter.
Old country crock.
Believe it, baby. But I mean, yeah, we had country crock at the houses all the time, man. It was just
Oh yeah, we grew up, dude. I just grew up getting wrecked by freaking country crock margarine
crazy. It looked like butter. They did a
Well,
great
and
job.
Little Debbie snacks.
Dude, your house was bad, man.
Yeah,
We'd go over there. We'd go over there for junk food, bad words, and Xbox. That's what we got.
yeah.
Dude.
That's why I'm still addicted to junk food to this day, dude. Because of that, I'm fighting for my life over here.
The biggest thing I did was stop coaching baseball with Brady because in the mornings, dude, it was I don't even do energy drinks anymore. I just do the coffee. So at least I'm getting the
Oh
caffeine
yeah,
free.
can't do those.
But it used to be Monster, Bang, you name it, whatever was on sale at racetrack, and I'd go get a Star Crunch Little Debbie to start my day to go coach 12-year-olds, and it was not good for the body, and I knew it. So, but we're still ticking. So that's fun. Camp, I know you have a conspiracy to round us off here.
I'll keep it light for the first episode. I don't think we went to the moon.
Nice.
I'm I'm more and more skeptical every day about that, but
Yeah.
I hope why not, dude? Damn it, why haven't we been there yet? If so, like what's the deal, dude?
The
Yeah,
worst,
definitely haven't been to the moon.
the worst part
No,
about that,
Why not?
yeah,
Why not?
0% chance, dude. Could we be back already, dude? If we went to the moon?
did you expect
I
that
know,
reaction out
like
of the
what?
group?
No, but I'm glad it was there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to try to. I mean, my ego's already blown up because I have a podcast, but um, you guys being on the podcast, you're probably feeling it pretty good. Jimmy's hat's getting a little tight, but um, uh, I mean, this is probably the widest array of guys that I could think of, and Ryan's buddy would have been a great addition to that. It would have been a new face for me at least, and the other two guys. But Ryan's kind of the oddball out here as far as numbers go. But very similar thinking guys, very motivated. I would say you three are way more disciplined than I am as far as how you're operating now, and I strive to be like that and more like that. But, the moon thing disappoints me because, like, Elon, okay, no one thinks about Elon when they say the Earth splattered with the moon thing. Like, Elon is the space guy, so what is he not telling us? Why hasn't he been to the moon? And what's going on there? Like, is he a government psyop? Like, is he just doing all this other stuff, crazy stuff, and no one's asking him the hard questions of like, dude, have we been to the moon, Elon? Right? We have pictures of some Tesla out in space with some mannequin in it. Like, is that out in space or is that in Hollywood? We don't know. So, someone needs to ask Elon that question, and I think we should get an answer out of him.
Well, he says he's going to Mars, but I mean, dude,
Listen,
How are we going to
that's
Mars if
a
we ain't been to
even
the moon?
you can't just skip the moon.
yeah, dude. We're not going. That's the crazy. That's my biggest beef with Elon, dude. I don't know what all this Mars talk is. I don't know what the fuck he's. Sorry if that just. Now it's not a family, but man, yeah, dude.
Camp, do you have anything else specifically on the moon, or am I clear to go into my conspiracy, which is kind of
No, that's all I got. I just don't
I
think we went.
mean, I went to church today. I'm um, for the sake of not going to purgatory for too long, believe in the Catholic Church for the most part, altar boy, all that stuff. But as a free thinking human, it's hard not to get entertained by the we came from Mars theory that Adam and Eve and like Noah's Ark, which is kind of like the story or what we interpreted of spaceships coming here and coming to this realm. of the last realm that we were at, and Mars is a nuclear wasteland of the remnants of bombs going off. And then we all came here. Earth was so green and natural, Garden of Eden, and then here we go. So it is blasphemic as that is, blasphemic as that may be. That one keeps me up at night, and like I see it every now and again. Like I forget where I saw it. There was just some crazy person like me putting it out there on the internet. But
where do you find this stuff?
Dude, the algorithms, I think they're scared of me, to be honest with you. They may be playing me a little bit, but I play them because, yeah, what was my nickname, Ryan? Will you help me out?
The professor.
Yeah, I almost called I almost changed the name of the whole podcast because of that, but
That would have been funny.
but I did it. Stogies with Bogey gives me a little bit of street cred. Then professor.
Stogies, shout out Stogies and Bogies.
Hey, shout out Bogey.
Shout out.
One could be cleaned up a little bit, and I think we all performed admirably, and I had fun. So
You got to put the first hour's free, second half's Patreon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first time, long time. The next hour is for subscribers only. Smash that like button, leave a comment, and here's click this for my video up here. So
We get into conspiracies in the second half. You're going to want to hear this if you did.
Yeah.
Get ready for our second episode, which will be our last episode because we will unload shit, get canceled for sure. We'll be 2 and done, 2 in a queue.
We will be releasing the Epstein files.
Yeah.
So I haven't come up with a catchy closing line yet, like "Stay classy, San Diego," but I'm still working on it. And other than that,
I like the airplane closing.
The helicopter.
They're coming,
Jake break.
Hey, they're coming. They're coming. Get out of here.
Yeah. You talked about the Noah's spaceship, and they're like, "All right, we got him."
That honestly might be a Harley. I don't even think this bike week, baby. But hey, shout out you guys. This was fun. Stuff to you guys. Love you guys, and Godspeed.
Other boys.
Pretty nice little Sunday evening.